Hello, sisters. Welcome to the IMAKHOU podcast, where we unlock our potential, one story, one step, one sister at a time. I'm Aïcha, your host. In each episode, we'll share real talk, actionable tips, and inspiring journeys to help you navigate your career, whether you're climbing the corporate ladder or building your own empire. So grab your tea, your water, your coffee, find your tribe, and let's get ready to grow together. Hello, sisters. Welcome to episode 2 of the IMAKHOU podcast. I have, from today on, a very, very, very special, not guest, but my co-host, Diana. Hi, Diana.
Hello, everyone. Hello, sisters.
So, Diana, before we even start talking about the second woman we're going to highlight today, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I live in Switzerland and I was born in Switzerland. My parents are originally born in Vietnam, one from the north, one from the south. And due to the war, they were refugees. From there, they went to a lot of islands and then they came and met in Switzerland, where my sister and I were born. So my nationality is more Chinese, but I thrive into this Swiss country in my own way, as I'm special. And you will learn to know more about me during the discussion too.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah.
On a professional side.
I'm an entrepreneur. I love projects, and my mission is really to bring more people together to be in service of bigger stuff. So I create, I do content, and I also want to give you a holistic approach on education, financial education.
Thank you, Diana. Sisters, we have an expert who's going to support us in covering so many aspects that need to be supported. Diana, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your expertise. Now, today, we are going to give you the roots of IMAKHOU.
Yes.
Well, part of the roots. I want to share today about this other woman who tremendously impacted not only my professional career, but also partially who I am today and the reason behind IMAKHOU today.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to know more about this woman.
Well, let me introduce you to Lily.
Lily, what a wonderful name. Hello, Lily.
Hi, Lily. Oh my God, I can already imagine her face going, what is she? Did you read this? Lily was literally my professional crush. I remember we met at the canteen so it was my early career. And I was sitting at the canteen and our eyes met. And my first reaction was to smile at her, and she smiled back. And the first thing we told each other was, "Hi!" Well, literally. And ever since that day, I remember Lily, whenever she would visit the office in Paris, she was based out in London, she would let me know. And I was always looking forward to her coming to Paris, to the Paris office.
What do you like so much about her?
So Lily has this warmth about her, but also this authority, natural authority, but without pushing it. And I was just drawn to her. She was excellent in what she was doing, but more importantly, whenever I would see her doing her thing, I always thought, I want to be like her.
She's the example you want to see.
She also has been one of those women I looked up to whenever I was doing anything. And so fast forward to when I met Lily, I was actually about to leave the country for a graduate program.
How old were you?
27.
Okay, nice.
27. And I was at that point, so it was my first job, very well paid in a very well-known company, international company in the tech industry. And Honestly, to have been picked up for the graduate program was it. I still wear it as a badge of honor because it wasn't accessible to everybody. It's very tough to enter those programs.
You can.
I am. You can't see me when I'm wearing my badge of honor.
Yeah, and she's sparkling. Her eyes are really shining. You cannot see whether I can describe her.
You guys make it shy. It's making me capable.
Be bold. We need more bold women out there.
And this is one of the characteristic Lily presented to me. She was bold, and she did not back off when it came to speaking her mind.
Do you know what makes her so bold?
I guess knowing, so whenever she stepped into her area of expertise, she knew what she was talking about. She knew what she was talking about. She came in a room with the full self-confidence of, I'm here because I'm going to support you. I'm going to be of service. I'm a no-nonsense person. And if there's anything that is out of my area of expertise, I don't shy away from asking the question because you cannot know everything. And because she had such a broad knowledge in her area, she knew that she was the deal. So that self-confidence oozed from that. But what I loved the most about her was that she wasn't there just to keep that knowledge to herself. She was there actually to spark it. And that's where I stepped into my I stepped out of my comfort zone, asking her for feedback. Because when you think you know, and then you go to the expert, the master. Lily, you were the master. When you go to the master,
Who you considered as master?
I considered her to be the master for feedback. Yes. That moment was the moment of true discovery of my potential. I wasn't even tapping into it.
Were you aware of it, of your potential? The little voice or your gut feeling or whatever?
No, I wasn't. I was too full of myself, actually, to be honest. Yes, I was. And I think the moment I met Lily was important for me because it did allow me to start with thinking about who am I really? Because I think I am this, you know, the full package, the real deal. I know my thing. And because I've gotten a few compliments from my manager because I did something a little bit out of the way that I thought I was the real deal.
And then when we dig, what happened?
At first I was defensive.
Why do you think?
Because I'm the big deal idea of myself just got shattered. So I got defensive and I was thinking,
Defensive or protective, maybe?
I was definitely defensive.
Okay.
Because the feedback, when I started receiving the feedback, I kept on pushing it back somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this session, it was my request and Lily gave me the space. She said, I'm going to take your time. I was preparing for a big presentation with sales director, regional director. So it was a big thing for me. And I asked her to give me I asked her to have a run dry with her. So I wasn't sure she would be able to do it because she was such a busy person. And whenever she would come to Paris, it would be for a week fully booked in advance. And I remember when I asked her, she was already in Paris, obviously with her schedule already set up, but she made room for me. So when
she has you in the heart.
She definitely did. She definitely did. I told her she was my crush.
But sometimes it's one way, so.
But she had my best interest at heart. We go into this room and I start my dry run. Literally after the first slides. After the first 2 slides, she stops me. So look at me coming in with the full projection of me going through the presentation and showing her how great I am, and her stopping me at slide 2 and telling me, hold it right there, let me give it. So it shattered this image of the big deal that I am of myself, and I got defensive, and my first reaction was, hold on, what? why are you interrupting me? Let me finish. And that's where she took the time just to tell me, listen, it's not about the presentation. From this moment, from the first slide, I would like for you to tweak those little things that you are doing to bring your presentation to the next level. You need to make sure that you think about connecting with your audience, not doing these little things that you're doing.
I want to know those little tricks. I think it can serve more than one.
Definitely does.
So can you share it?
The first thing she told me was that I was not taking the time to step into my presentation. So from the moment I opened the presentation, I rushed into it. So she wanted me to be grounded. The second was the little things that I was doing with my fingers, because from the moment I forgot a couple of words in my presentation, I would start doing literally with fingers. Wow, it's my fingers, which I
Is it a cultural thing or?
it's not a cultural thing. It was just me doing it because that's how at the time, I just needed to feel the emptiness, the silence, instead of tapping into the power of that pause
Yes, it is.
to regroup myself and continue with my presentation. And the moment she told me that,
It blew your mind.
hold on, imagine how embarrassed I was. Can you even picture that? Me coming in, I'm the big deal. No, you're not the big deal. And actually, you doing this awful thing with your fingers when you. How you feel? Embarrassment. I was feeling awful in that moment. But she never made fun of me. On the contrary, first thing she told me was, don't you worry, darling. You're going to be fine. You just need to tweak those little things because I can see that you know your topic, like the back of your hand. That was the validation that I was getting into my area of expertise, and that all I needed was to tweak those little details around me to make sure that I would move to the next stage.
And did you move to the next stage?
I did move to the next stage.
How was the audience responding to your presentation?
They were blown away. And the feedback I received after that presentation to the sales team with the regional director, the local sales director, the entire sales team, I had at least 10 people coming to me, starting with the sales director, telling me, you know what? Your presentation was so powerful. Do you know how many people come in here with a specific topic because we have to sell those products? And we're just thinking, another sales product presentation. But we were into it. When you finished your presentation, we wanted to go out there and sell this product.
And what did you feel at that time, specific moment?
I was so proud of myself.
I am that thing.
So obviously I was very proud of myself because I went into that room with a specific goal.
You always go to rooms with goals.
Not always, but in that specific case, I was expected to deliver a presentation, so I had to ace it. But the biggest feeling at that moment was gratitude, because as soon as I stepped out of the room, I called Lily. She was already back to the UK, but I called her and I told her, look, it was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for taking the time. And what I did not share was that during the presentation, during my dry run with Lily, there were little details in my presentation on which she challenged me. I got out of the dry run. I was drenched, by the way. That's how intense, because she did not let me off the hook. So first slide, why is your title like this? What are you trying to say? Your message has to be powerful from slide 1. Slide 2, you have your agenda, all right, but it's not clear why are you presenting this agenda that way. Down to the last slide, I had around 7 slides to present, And down to the last slide, Lily challenged me because she wanted me to step in there with a level of excellence that few people were actually expecting. Because most of the sales product presentations were a little bit sloppy. It was just for the sake of, oh, there is a new product, we're just going to push you the presentation. Just deal with it and make sure that you're selling the product. But Lily wanted me to be reminded as the person who came in there with a level of excellence that was not expected.
And since then, what changed in your life?
First, I was more self-aware and I started working on self-awareness. That journey was very intense, to say the least. But it was a beautiful moment because I just started this journey. Second, that level of excellence is what has driven my entire career. Even when I found myself in teams where I would be told, yeah, just give the bare minimum. No, I always give my 100%.
Even more.
Even more. Oh, but I have to say, I'm getting better at just sticking to 100%. Okay. But that culture of excellence just became a second nature because Lily made sure that in that specific moment, that I would step into that room with just a level of excellence. Period. And from now on, I know sometimes it can be very challenging because there is so much that needs to be carried and you cannot do it on your own. But I always make sure that in every action that I take, professionally, even personally, that I do things with excellence. Because then if it fails, at least I know that I have put every ounce of effort that I can in there and there is no regret.
So it's you and yourself game.
Absolutely.
Excellence is, can you define your point of view of excellence? Because maybe all the sisters doesn't have the same.
Definitely. Ooh, this is a tough one. Excellence for me means that when you're taking an action, especially an action where you are going to be of service, you're making sure that you have listened, you you cater to the needs of the people you have in front of you. And in order to do that, each step has to be crafted in a way that you don't, it's going to fulfill the purpose of the next step. Don't know if it makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
Step one is it's clear, it's properly crafted. And when you get into step two, step one actually is feeding into step two. So that when you face the people you are going to serve, be it professionally or personally, you don't have to think about those actions. Everything is there and you're focusing on the real important things, the conversation, the transformational journey, the amazing results that you're going to get out of it. And more importantly, once the results are there, you know that the work that you've put in, it's actually bringing the fruition of it. That is excellence.
For you.
For me. Yes.
Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. Joanna, now I'm curious. Have you had a Lily in your life?
I didn't have a Lily in my life. I have a lot. Actually, I worked also in high environment, high position, executive assistant most of the time into finance, HR, and marketing sales. And I had the chance to serve a lot of directors. I could learn from them. It was mainly men. But I also learned from them that they don't know actually how to. dig in the emotional part, but they were so good in the technical part. I have nothing to say about that. They can rationalize everything. I was so shocked that it's possible because I'm more an emotional person, but very into also before process and methodology and so on. And I was impressed by them. I had bad bosses and just a few of good examples. But then it shapes me. I knew what is a great leader, what I don't want to do to my employees or to my partner in private and in professional area. I'm still growing in that way. But yeah, the more I see how they act, the more I can say, oh, I like this or this. The other didn't receive that well. Maybe we can change a bit. But actually, we are all humans. And I think that sometimes our role has so much pressure. And those directors, male or female, I don't think they have a space to release. And sometimes it impacts their personal life too much.
And this is exactly it's funny because this is exactly what happened to me with Lily. I was given the space. And it's funny that you mentioning the emotional part because a lot of times we do things thinking that it is rational when actually a lot of the emotional aspect is actually involved. And like I said earlier, I was defensive when I received her feedback. And this is being emotional somehow. And because Lily was so attuned to me in that moment, she actually was able to shift my perspective on the feedback. Diana, we're talking about emotions and my defensiveness towards feedback. Let's dive a little bit into vulnerability.
Sure.
Whenever I hear that word, for me is okay, it has a lot to do with my education actually. You must not show your vulnerability because it is considered a weakness. But I know because I chose to be vulnerable in front of Lily, it led me to that journey. Mind you, I'm still learning how to be completely vulnerable. It's not a muscle that is well trained in my character. But how much of vulnerability do you think is good enough in a work environment, or or even for you as an entrepreneur? That might be two different things in those two different realms.
It depends, I think, on the ability of the person in front of you. As you said before, you cannot ask everyone to be vulnerable because they don't talk about it. It's not in the education, or it's not the right moment, the right space for that. And you can make people feel awkward too because they don't know how to deal with it. And it's not only dealing with the emotion of the others, but it's opening their own emotion. And sometimes they don't want to tap in it.
That reminds me. That reminds me this is another thing that Lily showed me. So I did something for her. She during one of her visits, she actually got sick, and I didn't see her at the office, and I kept on ringing her because I was worried. And when she ended up picking up the phone, she told me, "Oh, I'm at the hotel. I'm sick." I didn't even think twice. As soon as I clocked up, rushed to the hotel, went to her bedroom, grabbed all her stuff, shoved it in my car, put her in a back seat, took her home, and for the entire week, I actually took care of her. The reason I did that, again, for me, it was just the most natural thing to do.
Not everyone is doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's very special.
This is the feedback that she gave me. Again, I'm going to say it because she was my crush. Obviously, for me, it was a non-negotiable. I'm not your crush. That's my crush. But more importantly, for me, it was just a natural thing to do from one human being to another. And I because she created that space for me to, whenever I needed her support, whenever I needed some feedback, whenever I needed an expert eye on a very specific topic work wise, she would step in. She never told me, I don't have time for you. And for me it was just, you know what? I'm going to take you there. And so fast forward, a few years later, my brother needed someone in the UK when he was moving to the UK to help him find an accommodation. She did not hesitate. One more time, she stepped in, and when we went to grab a coffee with her and my brother, I had completely forgotten about that episode.
Yes.
And she told my brother, you know who do you know who your sister is? And she recalled the whole story. And from her perspective, she was just blown away by the fact that I did not think twice. I took her from the hotel, took her to my place, took care of her for an entire week before she headed back home. And back to vulnerability, this is where I find it interesting. It's just creating those safe spaces. But why is it so difficult for people to get into those spaces?
First, for women specifically, I think women have more tendency to compare themselves to each other instead of supporting each other. We are not. I don't think we have a huge community like the men thing. It's so strong, and they can lie amongst them for to pretend that yeah, he did nothing. And women that way, I think we can improve a lot. And the space, I don't think there is no space. I just think that we are exchanging a lot in a fast pace, and sometimes we don't take time. We don't pause and just ask, okay, how do you feel? Can you express your emotion out there? Or we don't practice it our own. And also, when you're a mother, you're a working woman, you have a husband, you have to take care of your dad, you're an entrepreneur, you have everything, you have businesses and a lot of people to manage. Nobody will do it for you. So sometimes we can cry 5 minutes and we get back on our feet because we don't have the choice. And a lot of us still think that we don't have this choice. Nobody will be here if I don't do the thing. Who can do it? And nobody knows our 360 vision and our 360 tasks.
So how do you do that? How do you create that space for yourself?
I cry a lot. I leave 1000% my emotions. Even in the workspace, before when I work as an executive assistant, I cried in front of the CEOs.
Okay,
And
hold on. How does it?
yeah.
Hold on a sec. Hold on a second. How is this received? Because
Mhm.
the common thing to do,
Yes.
especially when you interacting with C level,
Yeah.
is you have to keep it together.
Actually, it's not true. I make a lot of person cry, even unknown person, and I really leave the emotions, and it makes the other more humans, and they forgot somehow about what we have to do. But oh yeah, I'm talking to a human being. Oh, I can change. When you see another suffering like this, just because of one sentence sometimes or one mistake, because if not, you don't understand what happened. You just say it's a mistake, correct it. It's a fact. But then you don't know what you're provoking in the inner child traumas. And then I think maybe, I don't know, I don't have the feedback of those CEOs, but it changed their behavior for other employees and they were more human.
Wow, look at this. So, wow. Hold on, let this sink in a little bit. So I work with C-suits.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm lucky enough to have more than decent human beings at that level, because in my previous companies, the ones that I interacted with were quite the dickheads. Sorry for my French. But again, based on the previous experience, I tend to make sure that I keep it to myself. I keep it together. So far, none of them has stepped out of their boundaries. They're very cautious. They pay attention to a lot of things. But I guess the question I'm trying to ask here is whether you're working with C-suite or not, just in a work environment or let's take the corporate world, because I believe that in the entrepreneurship it's a little bit it might be a little bit different.
You have even more C-levels, but it's not your company.
Yeah, exactly. But let's take it back to the corporate. How do you make vulnerability your superpower?
Very interesting question. You're not like everyone. First, they remember you. Second, when you tap into your vulnerability, you allow them to share their personal life even more. You know the person and not just the role. So you build a relationship, and the trust can be built only on that base. And then you understand better when you're not here, when you're sick, or when you have to leave because your kids has something, and there is more understanding from both sides.
It's funny now that you say that, I'm realizing that I'm saying that I kept it together, but not necessarily, because this is one of the things I have been very adamant on in my current position in the company I'm working for, is to be, it's not, I don't call it being vulnerable, I call it being transparent.
Yeah.
I'm a mother.
Mhm.
I dedicate the hours I am in, I will dedicate them to you, my company. But the moment my child, for example, says, Mom, I need you, know that I'm going to drop you in the heartbeat. If you don't exist anymore, I'm out. Or if I feel exhausted,
Mm.
I'm not going to get to the brink of burning out for you. So there are moments where I literally step back and I don't let anybody get into my bubble, because I'm trying to. And this is one of the things I think this level of transparency that I've said from the beginning has tremendously helped me to just feel safe in that space, so that when I don't know something, I raise my hand and I say, I don't know how to do this. When I'm stuck, I raise my hand and say, I am stuck. I can't move forward. Someone please come and unstuck me. When I am tired, I voice it.
Exactly. Expression is the key to everything. When people tell that they are in burnout or whatever, it's just because you didn't express it, and nobody listened to it somehow.
So one of the challenging things when we talk about expressing yourself, I know some companies have a very, let's call it, healthy culture.
Yes.
Some others are way more toxic, and they are still out there. So personally, because I experienced it, I had the chance, let's call it like that, because it was an experience. I had the chance to experience a toxic environment. Personally,
Mhm.
my one and only reaction was exit strategy.
Mm.
As soon as I realized that this was not the right for me, but not everyone, unfortunately, has the chance, the luxury to say that my exit strategy is going to be this one. So I'm just wondering, because we're saying all of these good things, yes, the good jazz about being vulnerable and being transparent on your needs and all of that, voicing your needs. But how about the sisters who don't necessarily have that space so that they can voice it?
Then I think you can surround yourself with one or two colleagues where they can give you the space too. There are always those shy people out there in the company's corporate world that would love to listen to you and are really those pillars are key. They are actually part of the leaders, but they don't show up as leaders because they don't want the responsibility and the naysayer to come in. They protect their own space, but they are very open when you go to them and you confess with them.
So you're saying that we have to identify those low-key people who are actual leaders, but they don't necessarily have the title, they don't necessarily have the position, they about it, but they are the ones that you want to talk to.
And it can be those who just, the cleaning maids. They are wonderful and they know everything and they observe so much. I always respect those behind the scene work.
God, they will need you men who do. Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge you and to put you on the spotlight now.
Indeed. I remember this cleaning lady at one of my previous job in Paris. She was one of those very bubbly mamas.
Yeah.
My God. Sometimes she would come and tell you, you know what? Make sure that you pay attention because apparently you did something and this person is out for you, for your head. Just be careful.
Yeah, they know everything.
Everything. They know everyone as well, because sometimes you could be wondering, who can I talk to? Oh, by the way, I know this person who you can talk to. Well, but this is the sea level. Don't you worry. I know him. I can, or I know her. We can, next time I'm cleaning, I'm going to grab you and then I'm going to introduce you. So yes, tap into the power of those invisible persons who are not so invisible in the end.
They are everywhere. So look for your people.
Look for your people. Now, let's get back. I want to get back to this safe space we keep on mentioning.
Sure.
So obviously, as I said, I wanted to acknowledge Lily because she's one of the roots of IMAKHOU. Because she gave me that space, she fulfilled that need that I had, that I've always had, having someone who has your back and who's able to come and pick you up in the difficult moments, who's able to remind you of your strength when you're doubting yourself.
Do you see that you became this person for her too? It's a both way.
I hope so. I honestly hope so because, and one of the reasons we're having this conversation is to acknowledge her and to say thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Lily. I don't know you. I wish I know you.
We should make sure that you guys. But really, it's about, because she did that. She gave me permission, and because she did it, she just confirmed that this is the kind of connection that I need in my life. And here at IMAKHOU, we're all about making sure that you sisters have that space where you can come in, you can upload, you can share your experience, you can be of service, you can come and use the service that is being offered to you. Go out there, shine. But again, back to the safe space. Why is it we don't have the space?
I think we had them, but we don't share them necessarily. And somehow I feel, for example, for my case, I just need sometimes a talk with a rational person during 1 hour and my emotions are settled down. Because I want people to bring me back to the rational when I'm too emotional.
But you ask for it. You go and you ask for it. So
I met some friends that are, now I say that I have friends. I mean, before I have no friends. And I think this is also the key, how you're surrounding
yourself.
Yes. And actually, a lot of people are looking for friends. So just ask. Really dare to ask. This is, my Chinese name is why man. So why don't you ask, man? Woman, ask. And the time I started to ask, it's given. Because people are not you. They don't know what is in your head, what are your needs, even your partner. So ask and say, hey, can I have just 5 minutes of safe space? I just need to blow it out. You don't need to challenge me to do whatever. I just need to express first.
Okay.
First is really express whatever comes out. With kids, we have things to do. I work in a school too. And we don't take the responsibility of the kids. We just give them the framework. And then the kids are very able to go through the framework. So when you teach as young possible this kind of methodology, then you can thrive better in life, corporate world or personal life. So it's really tell what is happening. So facts. Then what emotion did it bring up? And third, what do you need? And sometimes they express it and they don't need nothing. Neither an excuse.
This is interesting because, again, I'm going to take my example, and I think some of the sisters may be doing that. I will express the facts.
Yeah. So I am hurt, or yeah, the thing, he did me this.
Yeah. See, I will express the facts, but I will stick to the facts, and I will detach the emotion, and say, I need this, I need that. I usually tend to, because we being told that when we come with the emotions, we're overbearing, we're overwhelming, while we're putting the emotions into it, we're being irrational, when actually we are made of emotions.
Which is the difference of robots and humans.
So yeah. So again, I'm going to get back a little bit to Lily. I want to thank her for creating the ripple effect, which is leading to today.
Thank you for the Aïcha today, Lulu.
But more importantly, we have to remember that the space is actually there. We have to step into it.
Exactly.
That's why IMAKHOU exists. So, and two, we have to make sure that we seek the feedback, because it is, and the word says it is feeding back.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know about this.
Did you see that? It is feeding.
I will go. Doesn't matter.
You can share it. You can share it.
Yeah, thank you.
But so it is feeding back. It's not about criticism or pointing out your flaws. No, it's really about showing you your areas of improvement and making sure that you taking yourself to the next level. And taking yourself to the next level, it's taking the actions and putting excellence in every step of those actions. Because it's only through excellence that you're going to be the master that you need to be in your area of expertise and be of service to your community.
I would say if you don't tap to excellence, then you serve maybe a minority. Your impact would be better if you use excellence.
Absolutely. 100% with you on that one.
Thank you.
We're almost at the end of this episode. Thank you, sisters, for taking the time to join us. Like I said, you know what? I knew last year, this is a little side note. Last year, I asked to receive the needed support, because building a community, you cannot do it by yourself. And here we are. We have Diana on the podcast with us. Thank you for being part of this movement, Diana.
Thank you.
And sisters, make sure that you tell us what you think about the podcast, what you think about the blog, what you think about. Tell us also about your experiences, because that's how we know more. That's how we actually share the tips. That's how we know
how we feed back each other.
Well, see that we're feeding back each other. And we will see you on the next episode.
And tell us also the topics you want us to bring up.
Yes, absolutely. We are more than happy to tackle them with you. So let's think about this into it together.
Here you have the safe space with IMAKHOU and Aïcha.
Co-host sisters. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the IMAKHOU podcast. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Join the IMAKHOU movement and connect with us on our website, imakhou.com, and our social platforms. We look forward to seeing you again next time. And remember, rise together, shine brighter.